excuse me, as I'm kind of trying to figure out how to use YouTube to create these videos. It it's not how it used to be. I thought I used to be able to just video on YouTube, but I've gone through like 5 different windows and can't figure out what to do. So I'm gonna record this on my phone. Sorry, I look like this. I've been out in my garage cleaning all day. So let's look at week 3 life lab and talking about like engaging in a real life interaction during week 3. I'm going to use an interaction that I had with work and my provider. I'm a medical assistant that works at a family practice, and I'm going to talk about like kind of just like the interactions that me and my provider have between us when we are busy. Like I've roomed 2 patients, there are other patients in the room, and we need to do a biopsy, or say we have to do a pap or a pelvic exam for a woman. There's always just a lot of things going on, and I can't remember exactly what patient in which scenario this happened, but I do remember the interaction very well, where his computer was not working. So there was a computer that was open behind me. So I said, hey, would you like to have me move this other MA, and I'll have you move out to the MA station? And he said, yes, let's do that. And I moved that MA and moved all her stuff to a different station. And I had 2 patients in the room. They were waiting. I think he had result notes to give to one person. The other person is waiting for him to go in the room. I'm switching his computer. One of the patients, I think, was a OB patient, and I have to test her urine for albumin, and I think it's bupropion as well. I know you wouldn't know what those are, but like these are 2 things that I have to test, and I do it with a urine strip. So I'm testing the urine, and he's talking to me while I am working, asking me questions about one patient, and then looking in the door at another patient. And I realized that one of the other patients, I had put their paperwork in the wrong door, because obviously there's like lots of things going on. So he had asked me, and I'll just use names randomly at random, HIPAA. He's like, so is this paperwork for Mike? Is Mike in here? I thought Mike was in there. And I go, wait, what? So I have urine going on. Urine going on in the back that I'm testing. I'm like, wait, no, I thought that's Connor's paperwork, right? And he goes, no, these are the face sheets for Mike, the patient I just got done seeing that I'm writing notes for. These are his face sheets. This is what I'm asking for. And I'm standing there and I'm like, wait, what? And I'm trying to figure out which patient was in which room, because the doors are closed, right? And it's so easy to like completely forget like where you put somebody. And I realized what I had done was put the face sheet, some piece of paper that he uses for diagnostic codes, I had put it in the wrong door, and I confused myself. And so I'm on my computer going like, wait, who is in room D1? Who's in D1? And I was like, wait, no, that's Connor. Wait, what? And I could just tell he got frustrated with me, because at that point, I didn't even know what was going on. So I wouldn't call that a conflict, but there definitely was some tension, because his computer's not working. He's trying to write this guy's notes so that he can leave, so he can get to the next patient. He's waiting on me to finish running this urine. So we were like trying to communicate, but the synapses were not synapsing. The messages were not firing appropriately. And, he's a good sport, so he kind of laughed at me. And I had said something like, flippantly, like, I didn't drink any coffee today. So, maybe that's what's going on. And he goes, yeah, you need to drink coffee if this is how we're going to go today. And not to say that, I would not say that that's like an insult, but like, I think that particular day I was trying to see, because I have raging ADHD, I was trying to see if just my Adderall would be enough for the morning, because I'm like, man, I have to have a lot of stimuli in the morning to be able to do everything. But of course, like when I say it out loud and I talk about my job, that's a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, maybe I do need like a tiny little, and I drink like a tiny cup of coffee. It's not even like this big raging cup of coffee. And I drink office coffee, so it's not like I'm spending a lot of money either. I don't know why I'm defending myself over something that's not even that big of a deal. But that was basically the interaction that I have. And the barriers, as I was, saying it, barriers are, we have, we're juggling 3 to 4 different patients at any given point in time. Another barrier was his computer wasn't working. So not only are we dealing with patients now, but now I got to get him in a different workstation so that he can finish his job. And now we have to deal with the added problem of trying to get his computer to work. So we also have someone running around in circles trying to get his computer working. When I identified those, me and him ended up getting the job done, but I did something at my expense or made a joke at my expense saying like, oh, I didn't have coffee and that's why this is so confusing. When in any other circumstance, I think that would have been very confusing for anyone. And he was also confused. So, there's that. When I evaluate our communication and what strategies I could have used to overcome these barriers, I think like slowing down for a second and like truly actively listening to kind of like if I had like understood which patient was which in that moment, I could have been like, oh, I mixed up the paper in the door. But I had already I was already so high strung from his computer not working that I had I think they call it excuse me, I dropped you. It's like almost like lack of listening preparation, I think is what they were calling it. And just like, I wouldn't say bad messages, but it's like, it's not stopping to really listen to what he was saying. Like he was saying something to me and it made sense in his head, but I was not interpreting it, though I was not interpreting it. That's basically at the end of the day what was going on. And then like they talk about distorted listening, right? So like you have all of these things going on at the same time. Yeah, you're going to miss some messages. There's going to be some things that you absolutely miss. And I guess I wouldn't say like I was listening to respond, because I do know interactions very much like that where like the person is just sitting on the edge of their seat, just waiting to respond to one thing that you said instead of actually hearing the whole point. But I think in some ways, I don't want to say I was pseudo listening, but I had already interpreted and had an idea in my head what he was asking me. And then when that didn't make sense, like my response, what came out of my mouth didn't make sense, I realized, oh crap, I'm not actually like listening to what he's saying. So those were some things that I am going to take away from from my interaction with my boss. But yeah, no, we get along great. And this was just one of those funny moments where work just, it was like the first like 5 patients of the day. So you're just sitting there like, okay, so is this how the whole day is going to go? Or are we going to catch a rhythm, or are we going to get his computer fixed so that we can actually get back to work? So that is my assessment. Sorry, it's 8 minutes long, but thank you.